If you're looking for peace of mind and want some escape from the maddening rush of everyday strife, if you want to be tucked away in a serene surrounding where yesterday is as mysterious as tomorrow, yet believe such a refuge cannot exist, despair not. Such a place does exist. Such a place is Bhutan. Located in a forgotten pocket in the eastern Himalayas between China and India, Bhutan is a quiet kingdom that few have heard of and even fewer have traveled. It is a quaint pocket of peace and calm that chose to remain hidden and isolated until recently. It is a land where history textbooks tell of saints who traveled on the backs of flying tigresses. And even today, Buddhist teachers are more popular and revered, while wooden phalluses adorn homes as religious symbols. But it wasn't until the 17th century that the first centralized government was formed under Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal, a leader of the Drukpa Kagyu school of Mahayana Buddhism. He unified the country, coded a legal system, introduced land and tax reforms, repelled numerous Tibetan invasions, and built giant fortresses called dzongs. This, the magnificent Punakha Dzong, was built at the confluence of two rivers. It was from here that Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal wielded his religious influence and secular power. Today, this dzong is still the winter residence of the Je Khenpo, the abbot of the central monastic body. In summer months, the Je Khenpo resides at Tashi Chozong, which also houses the office of the King of Bhutan in Thimphu, the present capital city. 4 generations of kings have followed since. The benevolence of the Wangchuk dynasty is evident in the fact that the 4th king, Jigme Singye Wangchu, and his son, the present king, Jigme Khesaar Namgye Wangchu, remain the most popular and beloved personalities in the country. In a sense, Bhutan emerged from the Middle Ages only in the 1960s when it opened up to the world beyond its borders and built its first schools, roads, and hospitals. Even then, Bhutan's kings deliberately kept the pace of modernization slow, cautiously opting to learn from the mistakes of other countries. Television and the internet got here only in 1999, so Bhutan still retains all of its old world ethereal charm. After 100 years of rule by the Wangchuk dynasty, the country went to the polls to elect the first democratic government in 2008. Thimphu, the political capital, is also the commercial center and the only capital city in the world that has no traffic lights. Instead, traffic is marshaled by policemen who use an elaborate set of hand signals. Indeed, in a world where it's impossible to tell from the streetscape which country you're in, Thimphu streets are unmistakably Bhutanese, thanks in large part to the unique architecture. Bhutanese law requires all buildings in the country to follow the designs and rules of traditional architecture. Wooden surfaces such as beams, windows, and doors are normally painted with various floral, animal, and religious motifs and colors, each with a special significance. There is generally no planning or designing done on paper. The master carpenter begins with the size, layout and structure of the building in his mind. Nails are not used and the wood pieces are assembled by the dovetail technique. The best examples of traditional Bhutanese architecture can be seen in dzongs, monasteries, houses and bridges. The omnipresence of dzongs, monasteries, stupas and prayer flags in Bhutan is a constant reminder of the centrality of Buddhism in Bhutanese culture. Houses, some of which are adorned with religious phallic symbols to ward off evil, contain discreet shrine rooms, while Buddhist teachers are more popular and revered. Monks, prayer and respect for everything living are integral to the Bhutanese way of life. Traditional monastic education exists side by side with modern mainstream education, where the language of instruction is English. Education is provided free of cost by the government, and schools can be found in even the remotest rural pockets. The celebrations traditionally begin with a Chukdral procession, a symbolic ceremony that features over 45 different particulars where religious items are borne by monks and earthly items are carried by ordinary lay people. The Chukdral procession occurs on auspicious occasions, and today Thimphu is celebrating the National Day. In attendance is none other than His Majesty the King. National Day is observed on December 17th to mark the day in 1907 when the first king unified Bhutan as a sovereign country. Everyone, from monks and school children to the armed forces and people in general, have turned up for the celebrations, packing the National Stadium to full capacity. Locally though, anywhere in Bhutan, the most celebrated festival would be the local Tsechu. Like most festivals anywhere, a Tsechu is an annual social affair. Populaces gather at the local dzong or monastery in the Western equivalent of their Sunday best with packed lunches and make merry. The high point of such festivals are masked dances that monks perform according to steps meticulously choreographed by Buddhist masters in the distant past. Following narrative structures, these dances are loaded with religious symbolism. the numbing clash and blend of colors as well as the symphony of traditional gongs, horns, cymbals and drums, however, make Techu's especially memorable auditory and visual experiences. The best-known Techus are those of Punakha, Parel, Thimphu and Guntur. All these settlements lie along the central belt of the country. Elevated between 2,000 to 3,000 meters above sea level, these hills and valleys also form a fertile green belt where the mainstay of the people is agriculture. They grow mainly rice, buckwheat, chili, cash crops like potato and apples, and an assortment of vegetables. In villages like this, most households also rear cattle. As has been the practice for hundreds of years, the bulls are still used to plough the agricultural fields, while cows produce all the household dairy needs such as milk, butter and cheese. When the womenfolk are free from agricultural work, they will often spend time weaving. Bhutan boasts a unique weaving culture, and Bhutanese textiles are celebrated at home and abroad for their abundance of color, sophistication, and artistry. Bhutan's ecology is astounding. Along with the Eastern Himalayas, it is recognized as one of the world's 10 biodiversity hotspots. Bhutan is home to over 5,500 species of vascular plants, including many rare orchids, and the zealously protected national flower, the blue poppy. Some 770 species of birds and 165 mammal species thrive here too. These include such endangered species as the black-necked crane, the white-bellied heron, the golden langur, the Royal Bengal tiger, and the oddity that is the national animal, the tarkin. The national sport here, archery, requires the sportsman to guzzle down copious amounts of alcohol in the field. It's no wonder progress here is officially measured not in terms of GDP, but GNH, or gross national happiness. Bhutan's air carriers, Truk Air and Bhutan Airlines, operate several flights every week from Singapore, Bangkok, Delhi, Kolkata, Bodh Gaya, Dhaka, Guwahati, and Kathmandu to Paro. Three domestic airports have recently been constructed at Gyelephu in the south, Pumthang in the center, and Yongphula in the east. For 100 years, until April 2008, the country was ruled by the Wangchuck monarchical dynasty. The country went to the polls to elect the first democratic government in March 2008. Unlike in most countries where democracy has been achieved through revolution, this change was initiated by the throne. The people did not want it, as they had been more than happy with the monarchy. Today, the present king rules in a capacity more titular than de facto, yet he and his father remain the most respected and indeed the most beloved personalities of the Bhutanese people. It was in fact King Jigme Singye Wanchuk, the father of the present king, who initiated the idea of gross national happiness, or GNH. GNH is Bhutan's own unique model of sustainable development, one that seeks economic development, but not at the cost of corrupting administration, degrading one's natural environment, or diluting cultural values. Thus, along with economic development, good governance, environmental preservation, and promotion of culture are the four pillars of the GNH model. The tourism policy is unique as the country itself. Bhutan recognizes tourism's economic benefits, yet the dominant belief among the people, the government, and even those in the tourism industry here is that the nation must not be blinded by the lure of tourist dollars, as has happened in our neighboring countries. Tourism's impact on the social-cultural front, on the local environment, and to our indigenous cultural practices and values are equally considered. Few people live between the tree line and the greater Himalayan peaks that rise over 7,000 meters above sea level. The bulk of the people populate the hills and valleys of the central region, which is divided in a north-south direction by the Wangchu, Punachangchu, Mangdechu, and Kurichu rivers. The southern foothills, which form the industrial belt, drop sharply away from the Himalayas into large tracts of semi-tropical forest and grassland. This remarkable range of altitude obviously means a remarkable range in weather as well. The north is perennially covered with snow. Weather in the central belt has often been compared to cold European weather. Winter lasts here from November to March. Southern Bhutan is characterized by atypical hot and humid subtropical conditions. The four seasons in Bhutan have generally been compared to those of Western Europe in terms of conditions and timing. Most tourists visit Bhutan in spring, mid-March to mid-June, and autumn, mid-September to mid-November, when less rain, mild temperatures, and clear skies make sightseeing most pleasant. Typically, you begin a trek in Bhutan in scented pine trees on the lower slopes before entering brooding oak forests. Above you, cypress, spruce, juniper, and birk scamper up the mountainside, clinging improbably to sheer cliffs where their feathery branches catch the sun and line the mountains with tinsel. So they say the best way to see Bhutan is on foot, lugging tents and food on horses and yaks. There are pockets of mystical, unexplored places with friendly, hospitable and happy people the world over. And it may be fair to say that Bhutan is certainly one of them. It is one of the travel world's best kept secrets. There are pockets of mystical, unexplored places with friendly people the world over. And it may be fair to say that Bhutan is certainly one of them. It is one of the travel world's best kept secrets.